The Wars of Light and Shadow is a masterpiece by everyone who has read it. And I think it's true. Or at the very least, from what I've seen and what I've read, The Wars of Light and Shadow is preparing itself to be a true and genuine masterpiece. This video will be talking about why The Curse of the Mistwraith is such a brilliant setup for this giant, epic 11-book series that Janny Wurts worked on over the course of 30 years and her entire life. And so, if you have not read Curse of the Mistwraith, I'm sorry you're going to have to leave, because don't spoil this book for yourself. It's really, really good. Alright, so now that I'm talking about the spoilers, I think one of the first and most important things about this book is the setting up of relationship dynamics. How are these dynamics going to play out, and how are they going to show? I think one of the first ones, and the most obvious one to go with, is going to have to be Lysaer and Arthon. At the start, it shows their slow decay decay. It shows how they are friends, then they are forced to work together, then they are forced apart due to the curse of the Mistwraith. Now, I don't know if this is reflective of the rest of the story. It could very well be a brilliant reflection of, oh, we have to work together to survive, somewhere around the halfway point of the story, and then at the very end, they go back to bickering, fighting each other, and that is the finale to the story. I have no idea. I haven't read much further than Curse of the Mistwraith. I have read further than Curse of the Mistwraith, but I'm not even done with Ships of Merior, and I'm not going to spoil that for any of you. So don't worry about that. Now, I think the most important section between these two is, of course, I can talk about Destier's curse. I'm not going to. Not as much. I think specifically with the Battle of Strakewood, I think that's what it's called, we see a dynamic of Lysaer overwhelming Arathon's forces, number one, and number two, Arathon running away, while Lysaer is chasing him in the name of justice. I think it is deeply, deeply important that we establish that this is probably how it's going to be for the rest of the series. Maybe not at the end, because I have no idea what the end is going to be like, and there could be so many twists and turns that I just kind of like blew it out of the water, but who knows? Janny Wurts does, but I don't. And I think that showing that sets a precedent of, hey, this is just book one. He's probably going to be running a lot, A, and B, Lysaer is probably going to be chasing him for the rest of the series. Makes sense. Now, of course, I think another thing that is really interesting is that Arathon is the main person being backed by the... What's his name? Oh my god. Or not his name. The Fellowship of the Seven. Who are the... I want to say Gandalfs of this world, but I don't really know if that's the right way, because they're so manipulative. Gandalf would never... Gandalf might do stuff like this, but never to the extent of what these guys did. And I think another aspect of it that is deeply interesting is maybe, because again, I have no idea, the Fellowship of the Seven will constantly be using people. They very well likely be. They very well will be doing this for the rest of the series. Constantly using people. Constantly using them for their own ends of bringing back the Paravians. Which, let's be very clear, they have no idea how to bring back the Paravians. which, by the way, if you don't remember, they are the unicorns, the sun children, and the centaurs. And I just want to say real quickly, it's so interesting how unique it is. And talking of that, I'll come back to that. But I think it's so important that we see all these different relationships of Arathon and Lysair being used by the Fellowship of the Seven, and then Lysair being the person to take the brunt of the Mistwraith's curse. And it feels like that's a precedent, that the Fellowship of the Seven will constantly be using Arathon, will constantly be using Lysair, but not just Lysair and Arathon, but anybody they can get their hands on. If these people can help us get the Paravians back, then we will use them. And very clearly, it seems like they do believe that Arathon is the key to getting the Paravians back, because we see in the moment, is his name Traith, I believe, talking to Elira and Arathon as he tells them, you too must be able to see a unicorn. If not, we're all screwed. We're just so fucked. That's why we need you two to stay alive. And I think that also sets another precedent in and of itself. That one conversation tells us as the reader, hey, for the rest of the series, the Fellowship of the Seven are, if they're using Elira and Arathon, they're also going to be trying to protect them. They do not want Arathon and Elira to die until they have seen a unicorn. After that, I'm willing to bet they do not care what happens to Arathon or Elira. As long as they bring the Paravians back, it does not matter. And I think another thing that is so important is also the Coriani. We get to see their hierarchy with the Coriani Prime and the Coriani First Senior and then the Seniors, and how Elira is lower in their ranks, but we also get to see what Elira's relationship with her Seniors will be, alongside what a relationship with Arathon will be. For example, how Traith tells her and Arathon that Elira will be the person to know Arathon the best. Sorry, I stumbled there, but the biggest reason was I was fumbling my words. But again, besides the point. And we see that Elira creates these new dynamics with her Seniors. Like the Coriani Prime now is just, okay, you are alive because we need you to find the Master of Shadow. And how the First Senior is a little jealous. And by doing this, we set a precedent. This is what her relationship with these people are going to be. This is what Arathon's relationship with Lysair is going to be. This is what Arathon's relationship with the Fellowship of the Seven will be. Like how Lysair is extremely antagonistic toward the Fellowship of the Seven, except for Dakar, because Dakar likes him. And then we also see other characters, like how Arathon is going to have a relationship with the clansmen, how he has to take the clansmen under his wing for a short time, and because of that, we are able to see he's probably going to be the leader of these clansmen, because that's what has to happen. He doesn't really have much of a choice there. He must lead these clansmen, or they will die. And because of his bloodline of empathy, he has no choice. He is forced into the situation, and because he empathizes with them so much, he just can't help but help them. And I think that's another precedent. He can't help but help people. That's how he is. He empathizes with people so well that when they get hurt, he gets angry. He's not happy about it. You can hurt him as much as you like. Other people, that's where the line is drawn. And then I think this bleeds in a little bit into motivations. And I deliberately left Halaron out of that. I'm going to talk to you about this. And with this second section of motivations, we see so many different motivations. Like how the Coriani, I have no idea what the Coriani want. I will admit it. They seem to just want the Master of Shadow. They just seem to want Arathon, but I have no idea. And then we know the Fellowship of the Seven. They want the Paravians back. They don't care what has to happen to do it, but they want the Paravians back now. And we have Lysair, whose whole precedent is set as, I'm going to kill Arathon no matter what. That is his goal. And then we also see Arathon, who his goal is just to be happy. And that's why he apprentices to Halaron. That's why he accepts the apprenticeship of Halaron Master Bard, so he can become the Master Bard. And that is another setup. It says he's going to be music is going to be very important going on in this series. I think that is very apparent considering the names of some of the later books in the series, and how we also see so many different things just showing up throughout this book about what will happen. We get the prophecy of Arathon and Elira seeing the unicorn. And by doing that, by establishing so many motivations, Jenny Wirtz is able to say, okay, this is the start-off point. Let's run with it. And I think another very important aspect of these motivations is how far are they willing to go? And I think that also sets the tone. For example, Lysair. He is willing to do some evil shit. Like the murder of children in Strakewood Battle. Oh my god! He's so willing to kill kids, 12-year-olds, and it's horrifying. But it tells you this is the extent that Lysair is willing to go for his ambition. And that also tells us that for the rest of the series, he is going to be this willing to achieve his ambition of killing Arathon. And it also tells us that Arathon wants nothing of it. And that it's going to be a constant defense. Arathon will very likely be on the defense for a long time, if it ever changes. Lysair will constantly be on the offense for a long time, if that ever changes. And I'm not so sure it will. But then again, it's book 1 of 11 book series. I don't know. And so, I think all these bits and pieces that link together throughout this book, we're not doing a lot. I mean, a lot happens. For example, the capture of Desh'Thier. Okay. Desh'Thier is an important character, the Mistwraith. And then he's trapped. And I also think that in and of itself is a plot point. Isn't that weird? Book 1, he's trapped. And then we also send off Caradman, one of the Fellowship members, off to go search for whatever. And that's another thing. We need to understand the Mistwraith. We need to understand this world. And that is another aspect of the series that is being set up for us. Look here, there are so many mysteries going on that you can't even fathom. So, in order to understand the greater themes, the larger ideas, we must also understand the world and what is truly going on. What is the true conflict here? Why haven't the Paravians returned? That, I think, is another deeply important question that, when answered, will open up the themes of this book series. And another thing is duty, I think. For Lysair, it seems that he enjoys the court politics. He enjoys flirting with ladies, which, I mean, who can really blame him there? But he enjoys that flirtatious life, that constant, on-the-move court life. While Arathon seems to loathe it, because it's not the way he was raised. He enjoys music. He enjoys helping people from time to time. But he doesn't want to lead people because that is such a heavy burden. And then we get that idea of duty, because a truly good leader will understand that this being a king, being a leader, it's not going to be very fun. But Lysaer doesn't care. To him, it's not about the fun. It is about the honor. It is about the justice. Sorry, to Arathon, it is not about... Oh my god, I fumbled my words so badly there. To Lysaer, it is about the fun and the honor and the justice. Maintaining justice, maintaining honor, all while still having fun. While Arathon is not going to have fun in that setting, in that environment. And Lysaer is just going to have a blast. Because that's how Lysaer is. It's what he enjoys. And then Arathon enjoys the music. He enjoys the more, I want to say, peasant lifestyle. Because he's not used to that grand aspect of all things. And so we get from his point of view that conflict of duty and want. Because for some people like Lysaer, duty and want are in the same direction. And it's not a problem for him. While he sees his brother, Arathon, constantly battling this internal battle of, should I obey my duty? Should I follow my path to become a king and a leader of these clansmen who need me? Or should I not? And I think that also sets a precedent for the rest of the series in terms of an internal conflict. And how he hides his emotions. Is he going to have to learn to open himself up a little bit more? Is he going to have to learn to let someone in and be deeply close to him so that he can be comforted? So that he doesn't have to bear the weight of 1 million men and women and children all on his own? And those are all the things that I believe make Curse the Mistwraith such a brilliant setup. It sets up the themes, it sets up motivations, it sets up character relationships that will continue to evolve going further. Like how Dakar, I didn't even touch on this, Dakar hates Arathon, and I believe that that is going to be such an important and major factor in what is going to happen in the future. Or at the very least, it's one of the Fellowship's trainees who hates the guy that they are all supposed to protect. What's going on there? Will Dakar help Lysaer? We don't know what's going on here. We just know Dakar's his own force, and Dakar is going to do whatever the hell he wants at some point. Or that's what I feel. I feel like he's going to do something, whatever he wants at some point. And that's why I think Curse the Mistwraith is such a brilliant setup. And so, if you haven't been convinced to read Curse the Mistwraith, go read it. It's right here. Come on. Go out, buy it. Actually, you can't go to your local Barnes & Noble because it probably won't be there, so order it online, and then read the book. It's so good, you will not regret reading Jenny Wirtz. It makes you think. It makes you want to understand more about her super long history of this world that she has crafted for us. And also, she has a really good map and really good art style. Like, look at this cover. I quite like it. I like the newer covers even more, but I really like it. And so, I hope you all enjoyed. Are there any other reasons why you think that Curse the Mistwraith is such a good setup for this series? If not, cool. If so, let me know. I'd love to. Anyways, see you all next time, and I hope you all have a great day.